The Transportation and Commerce Committee meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Spencer.
Present.
Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Present.
Alderman Browning.
Present.
Chair Cone.
Present.
We have 4 present. We have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for that, and for everyone for your attendance this morning on this rainy Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 at 9 a.m. or shortly thereafter. We have minutes from our September 17th meeting that need to be approved. I'll entertain a motion on the approving minutes.
Move that we approve the minutes of Tuesday, September 17th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 9th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st, that we approve our meeting minutes from Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Chair Cone.
Aye.
We have 4 aye votes.
Great. With that, we move on to board bills for review. On our agenda, we have 3. The first of which is board bill number 99. And we have the airport director with us this morning, as well as the director of finance from the airport as well. And I will turn it over to both of them. I don't know if you're both presenting on this, sir. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Antonio.
Make sure the mic's on.
Oh, yeah. The button that you need to push to turn the light green on the top.
There it is.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so good morning, Transportation and Commerce Committee.
Good morning.
Antonio Strong, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration. So this first board bill number 99, we are requesting your approval for the sale of 4 parcels of airport property within the city of Kinloch to St. Louis County for large-scale park renovation improvement near the Kinloch County Park. This land will have a sale price of $40,000, which is the fair market value of the land based on a mutually agreed appraisal. This land is also non-contiguous land that is not adjacent to the airfield and cannot be used for aviation purposes, but was purchased by the airport many years ago as part of the noise buyouts using a combination of noise grants, revenue bonds, and passenger facility charges. Prior to requesting your approval, the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, granted a deed of release on the parcels in March of 2024, and the St. Louis County Council approved the sale with ordinance number 29062 in June of 2024. And at this time, we respectfully request your approval of this proposed land sale to St. Louis County.
Great. With that, we'll entertain motions, or questions from the committee with respect to board bill 99. We'll start with Vice Chair Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm looking at this list of properties. It looks like there are 4 properties in total: 5601 Maple, 5603 Maple, 5611. They're all on Maple. Is that correct?
Yes.
When did we purchase these? At what point?
So it was over a period of several years during noise buyout, most likely during the W1W expansion, which was many years ago prior to my arrival, probably about 20, 30 years ago is when the purchases happened.
Do you know what the purchase price was? What we purchased them for?
Sorry, I do not have that information. But we did obtain a fair market value of that land, which is required whenever we sell land, that we have to obtain fair market value for the land.
Federal grant.
So
Yes. And also, as the director restated, is that we did receive federal funds to purchase the land, so like noise grants, revenue bonds, or passenger facility charges were used to purchase the land.
okay. And these look like 4 residential lots, sort of right close next to the basketball courts that were put in, that were sort of repainted a few years ago.
Yes, so it's very
Beautiful
near,
mural.
yeah, it's very near the Kinloch County Park. That is
Okay.
currently, I guess they're expanding that park area for park renovations.
Okay,
I was gonna
go ahead, Director.
One additional thing, Alderwoman, is that the county is redoing the park, and they've got a grant to be able to redo the park and bring it back to life. The lots that they want to purchase from us are adjacent to it, and they will be a parking lot. So there's no parking currently that is near there, and so that's been one of the challenges they've had. So this will be a parking lot that they will put as part of the park renovations.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it's just, I'm asking some questions because it's fairly unusual for the airport to be selling property. And there's been some discussion about that in the past. And so it's just helpful to have this background to kind of understand which parcels we're looking at, why we're selling them, and what they'll be used for.
So I think excuse me, Antonio, I think the biggest thing is when our preference is always to do long-term land leases like we brought forward last year, Boeing lease, or right now we have an RFP that's been released for the West Carrollton for 300 acres on development. In Kinloch, these parcels are little bitty pieces of lots. So and we don't have a lot of contiguous. While these 4 may be contiguous, it's still less than a half an acre. So the ability for us to enter into a development on a lot that size really isn't viable. So what we've looked at is these parcels that we have spread throughout Kinloch. They do make sense in some cases. If there is development going on with another project, in this case the park, then it makes sense to go ahead and sell those. As Antonio mentioned, there's 2 things. We have to get an appraisal because we are required, because there was federal dollars used purchasing those. We are required to get an appraisal, and we have to get fair market value for those. But again, there's pieces of these lots that are scattered throughout, and without the ability to have contiguous ownership of a large number of acreage, there's really not any value to the airport to try and hold on to.
Thank you, Director. I think it would be helpful, and I apologize, I don't have this, just a view of all the properties that the airport owns. I know we own, as you pointed out, several non-contiguous properties and all that sort of thing. If that's something you could share with the board, I think it would be helpful. And just for clarity, the funds are going into the airport fund, and they're not coming into the city, just for clarity to the general public.
That is correct. And then also, because this was purchased with grant funds, a portion of the funds have to be returned back to the FAA.
Okay, that's
Yeah, actually on these, that was changed last year
Oh, yeah.
with a new law. As long as we reinvest the funds in the operation of the airport, we are able to retain 100%. We used to have to return 75% of those back to the federal government. A lot of airports worked in the last several years to get that federal law changed. So now, as long as we can show that we are reinvesting them in the operation of the airport, then we're allowed to keep 100%.
excellent. Well, hopefully we can do something amazing with this $40,000. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much. I appreciate coming forward. I've been following the Kinloch Park developments in the news. It's been in the news with St. Louis County and the investments, over $1 million, I think, going into that park. And I'm looking at sort of the map now of Kinloch Park and where the land is, and it looks like it's right next to basketball courts of some sort. But it is a somewhat significant amount of green space right there that the city owns. You said all of it's going to become parking? Or just a portion of it?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part of your question?
It is a somewhat significant amount of space for a park, so I wanted to know if the land that the city is looking to sell would all be parking lots, or would some of it be used for additional park space?
So the county is redeveloping this, and it's our understanding, based on the conversations with them, that the lots that they have purchased, those 4 lots, which are contiguous, that those would be used for the parking lot.
Okay.
So again, it's not our development, but our.
Right, no, I understand that. I just hate losing green space to parking lots in general, especially right next to a park. And I understand the need for a parking lot, but you know, wanting the parking lot to be to scale for the size and use of the park, and obviously encouraging people to walk and bike and get to the park in other ways. Looks like a large apartment complex right across the street, for example. So I know it's not up to us what happens with it, but I think I'm interested again in preserving green space that the city has whenever we have it. So selling land for a parking lot, you know, I wish it was like, and part of it's going to be a more park and great area for kids to play. So, you know, hopefully it will be, but I appreciate Alderwoman Spencer asked a lot of my questions about the sale and the money and all of that piece. I appreciate those questions. And I think this is a good thing to help develop this park. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I will say that it's a fairly large park. It's not just the basketball courts.
No, I see.
Yeah, they are redoing it, trying to make it a very viable, walkable, bikeable park, I think. They just needed to have space for
I get it.
some parking available.
Thank you.
Alderman Browning.
Thank you. I appreciate the questions asked by my colleagues so far. I'll just add that maybe St. Louis County can pursue a permeable surface so they won't get dinged with that new MST tax for stormwater runoff. So not your responsibility at all. I hope that this is able to be helpful to you all, and that the $40,000 can go towards improving something good in the airport. So happy to support this. Thank you.
Any further discussion on Board Bill 99? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill number 99.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 99 with a pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we pass Board Bill number 99 out with a due pass recommendation. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Ryan, Alderwoman Schweitzer,
Aye.
Alderman Browning,
Aye.
Chair Cone.
Aye.
We have 4 aye votes.
With that motion, you sustain, or with that vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman first to pass out Board Bill number 99 with a due pass recommendation. On to the next item on the agenda, which is Board Bill number 100. Antonio, are you doing all 3?
Yes, yeah.
You did mention that. Okay.
So it actually makes sense if I present 100 and 101 together, because it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse in this case here with Board Bill 100. So I'm going to kind of present both of them, and if you have any questions, we are here to answer that. So since May 1, 2007, the airport has had an air service incentive program, which has been proven successful in attracting new air service and well-received airlines. The Airport Air Service Incentive Program is designed to benefit both incumbent and new entrant airlines that initiate a growing passenger and cargo air service at the airport. The overall goal of the program is to stimulate passenger and cargo air service by waiving various airport fees for a limited period of time, you know, sometimes like 3 months, 6 months, or 8 months, to ease the financial impact of starting new service or kind of a new area or new route to different cities. So under this Air Service Incentive Program, financial benefits conferred during fiscal year 2025 through 2027 are not to exceed a total of $3.4 million. So Board Bill 100 is the request for the funding of this program. So this board bill requests to transfer funds to fund the program for fiscal year 25 to 27 at an amount of $1 million from our Airport Development Fund to the Airport Contingency Fund to help fund the Air Service Incentive Program. And if funds are available, the airlines can request those funds for new routes or new entrance to the airport. And at this point in time, I would like to respectfully request your approval for this transfer of funds to the Airport Contingency Fund for the funding of the Air Service Incentive Program for the period fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 27.
With that, I'll entertain questions from the committee. We'll start with 100. Vice Chair Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm kind of just going through it right now, so my apologies. I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much for this. I will have more questions about the actual program and just a little bit more about what it does and how it works. But I understand you're moving money from one account to another to fund a program that the airport does. So I appreciate you being here, and I plan to support Board Bill 100. Thank you.
Alderman Browning.
Same, no questions. Happy to support this.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 100.
I move to pass Board Bill 100 with the due pass recommendation.
Second.
By the Alderman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we pass Board Bill 100 with a due pass recommendation. Is there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Is there an objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill 100 passes out with a due pass recommendation. On to Board Bill 101, which I know Mr. Strong has already discussed. I'll entertain questions from the committee. Vice Chair Spencer.
No questions, just as a follow-up on both of these bills, just to have maybe a report to learn soon, or when we can expect to have results or have some kind of positive outcome from it would be helpful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So I'll just speak a little bit about that. So over the past 3 years, we've had about 8 air service incentive programs. One of the more successful programs that you probably are aware of is connected with Lufthansa to Frankfurt, Germany. So that was one of the successful incentive programs. But we have many programs like Spirit. Spirit has taken advantage of the program with new routes to Orlando, Las Vegas, LAX, Fort Lauderdale. Also Southwest has taken advantage of the program with new flights to Burbank, California, and San Francisco. So we have new routes and new entrants. Also, if the airlines do not commit to keeping those routes or retaining those routes for like about a 24-month period, they have to repay those funds back to the airport. So that is one of the main parts of the program, is that, you know, if you do not retain those routes for a 24-month period, you do repay those funds back to the airport.
Thank you. So yeah, if you have good news to share about the use of this incentive program, please share it with the board. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much. So in that 24-month period, the flights to Germany we talked about, are we months, or is that past that they've been here, just in terms of participation?
Wait, yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to that 4-month period because it started June.
We're past it.
Yeah, we're okay.
So they're still offering them.
Yeah,
That's-
so the 2 years started June 1 of 2022. So this June 1 of 2024,
Great.
we have surpassed the 2 years. It's also important to remember on the Lufthansa flight that there was community participation-ship through the Economic Development Partnership and through Greater St. Louis, Inc. To help subsidize those flights, because the international ones, you know, it's a lot to move those
Sure.
to these medium hub markets. So that has surpassed. They're operating, they're in the schedule for next summer, so it continues. The load factors for the summer on the outbound flights was an average of 98%.
Great.
On the inbound flights, it was an average of 96%. So,
People aren't coming back.
pardon me,
I said people are just moving away to Europe.
it's doing very well.
Okay. That's really interesting. And one of the things it talks about is competition between in markets, different airline markets. So the competition, is this something that does make the city more competitive, or do other airports have similar programs, or just different ones?
This program has to be approved by the FAA. So any incentive program that an airline has or that an airport offers has to be approved by the FAA. We watch very closely to what our competition is doing. We know that in some cases that there are a lot of state dollars also thrown into these programs. If you look at like Jobs Ohio, the state throws in a significant portion to all of their airports to try and attract both domestic and international service. So we watch what other airports are doing. We try to make sure that we're competitive. At the same time, you want to make sure that the flight's sustainable after the 2 years. So there's also seasonal opportunities. So in some markets, we know that year-round service isn't viable. So there's a less of an offering if you've got a seasonal market and you're going to come in for 6 months, then the landing fees may only be waived for 3 months. So the program is kind of a wide range depending on whether it's year-round service, if it's daily service, seasonal service. And we are competitive, I think, with most airports. As I said, there's some states that are throwing in a lot of dollars, but we're competitive with most, and we watch that very closely.
Well, thank you for being here and for explaining this. I appreciate it, and haven't taken one of those flights to Germany yet, but I hope to someday soon. So thank you so much for being here.
Alderman Browning.
No additional questions. Thank you.
Great. With that, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill 101.
I'd move that we pass Board Bill 101 out of committee with the due pass recommendation.
Second, previous roll.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 9th and seconded by the Alderman from the 1st. So we pass Board Bill 101 out with a due pass recommendation. There's been a request for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill 101 passes out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Thank you both for your time this morning. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee members.
I should have mentioned this during roll call. Well, no, we're good. We're right on schedule. All right, so no resolutions for review. Is there any discussion amongst the committee? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, was there
Wait,
any...
I think, Mr. Chair, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Madam Director, did you want to mention this at all, or?
October 10th is our Art of Travel.
Oh, yeah.
This is an exciting one. You got to talk about it.
So October 10th is travel. We have a pretty aggressive art program in the airport in both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. We think we've been recognized quite a bit for the diversity of our program and bringing local artists to the forefront. And this is our way of raising money. We do not use airport dollars for our art program, so it's all through fundraising. This will be our 11th year of having the Art of Travel. Sponsorships this year are the highest ever. We have about 175,000 already in sponsorships. We're anticipating about 400 people to attend the event, maybe more, but it is our way of trying to build up the revenue to be able to continue to offer these rotating programs for our local artists. And again, it gives them incredible visibility, and the diversity of the program has been really well received. So join us. We'd love to have you. It's a fun evening. It's at the airport on the B concourse.
Delightful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder, Alderman.
Yeah, that was a lot of great information that I did not know.
Madam Clerk, was there any written testimony provided on any of the board bills?
We have none.
I don't have any announcements at this point in time. I would like to note that the Alderman from the 4th Ward asked to be excused for today's meeting for necessary absence. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Previous roll.
Moved by the Alderman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we adjourn. There's been a request for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Seeing none, we stand adjourned.